Hello, everyone. Welcome to the third of a series of AgroVantage system conference calls, focusing on the various aspects of the AgroVantage system. I wanted to give a reminder that these calls are part of a recurring series that happen at 7 p.m. Central Time on the second and fourth Tuesdays in April and May on this same call-in line. On the previous two calls, Isaiah and I discussed nitrogen management, and the call on nitrogen management included information on nitrogen sources that are available on the market, as well as using nitrogen stabilizers such as the Conklin AgroVantage Guardian L product to ensure that the number one input cost facing growers today, nitrogen, stays in the soil where it can be taken up by the crops. It is a very informative call, and I encourage you to seek out that replay line as is the first call, and that information has been shared in eVision, and just look for information to come out in a voice link message regarding this call and other conference calls that Conklin has recorded and made available. Welcome, everyone. I'm Dan Willgohs, AgroVantage Marketing Manager, and it's my pleasure to be on the call this evening discussing the AgroVantage system. Also on the call is Isaiah Akers, AgroVantage Product Specialist. Welcome, Isaiah.
Hey, good evening, Dan.
It's great to have you on the call today. For our call today, we want to focus our discussion on weed management and how this relates to the AgroVantage system. As everyone is well aware, weeds pose a large threat and a large issue for growers, especially as herbicide-resistant weeds are becoming more widespread and more common. There are very many facets to weed control, and we could take an entire series of calls just covering that. So tonight will be somewhat of a quick overview and just a lot of information to be covered. And we all know that herbicides are effective in controlling populations, but before we get into that, Isaiah, could you go over some of the alternative methods for weed control?
Yeah, Dan, like you said, herbicides are definitely probably the go-to way to control these weed populations, but for growers that are maybe doing organic or more conventional type growing operations, there are a few different types of control methods that I'll cover. And then we'll get into herbicides and really the meat and potatoes of the call. But I suppose the first and most important tip is to really not let your fields go fallow. If you've got a year where, say, like in 2019, where we had a lot of prevent plant, guys didn't go out there and plant their corn, beans, you want to make sure that if you aren't planting that with the crop, you're at least going out there and spraying it and taking care of those weeds, not allowing them to really take advantage of that field and that empty field to do a big flush and create a huge seed bank going on for the next few years. So in that same vein, we talk about using cover crops. The intention of using a cover crop is to kind of put something out there that's going to compete with the weeds, kind of keep the weed populations down, and therefore in the spring it's a lot easier to kill. A lot of these cover crop species are purposely selected because they are easy to kill with the burn down spray. They don't develop herbicide resistance like a lot of our native weeds do. Another common practice would just be tillage. So pretty simply there, you're going to be working the soil in the spring. Not only is that going to kill those actively growing winter annual weeds, but it's also going to bury the summer annual weed seed deep enough into that soil profile where they won't germinate. And kind of similar to tillage, we have some other mechanical control methods, such as in-season cultivation, so running a cultivator through the rows. For some guys on smaller operations or even conventional operations, I talked to a hemp farmer that was hoeing a large majority of his acres there for hemp just because he couldn't use a traditional herbicide. But then there's also some pretty high-tech things going out there, some things going on for more of a precision ag type stuff that we might be seeing in the years going forward, such as flamers and steamers that will actually, inject a hot stream of flame or steam to kill those weeds, also lasers and microwaves. It's also a really good recommendation to always source a good seed. So a good stand and a good source of seed means that that canopy is going to fill, preventing any kind of opportunity for weed seeds to take advantage. And also we want to source good seed because that means that we're not going to have any weed seed contamination, meaning that weed seeds can actually be in that corn, bean, whatever seed